Hey everyone, happy Easter. In today's video, we're going to talk about some important updates to China and what I see as a potential catalyst for its market to finally get its groove back. Now, China making a recovery could be another catalyst for continuing the rally that we're currently seeing in US stocks. Now, before we get started, I want to thank all my viewers for their longer-term support. I also publish a lot of my content on Substack now, Monday through Thursday, for subscribers to be updated with my latest research on US and China markets. I'll continue to share macro updates and educational content here on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for engaging with my content. Okay, as we all know, China's economy and their markets have been going through a little bit of a rough patch. Now, there are different opinions on China, such as from the following banks. Goldman Sachs Wealth Management has suggested that investors should not invest in China. Meanwhile, other firms like Morgan Stanley say that fund flows are coming back to China. Today, I'll talk about a recent key event that I think can change the US and China business outlook for companies and why this could be a pivotal point for China's economy. Now, this pivotal event is the recent important business meeting that global top 100 CEOs just had with President Xi. Just as the highest level President Biden and Xi meetings are very important to set the geopolitical tone, so are any direct meetings between US CEOs and President Xi. These meetings are the best signals for China's intention to make the business environment more friendly for multinational companies. It's been a long time since I've seen President Xi meet with business leaders directly, the last time being in 2018. So I think that this event is a huge change in tone and how China wants to be perceived among the business community. Now, we know that China's real estate sector has been in a difficult situation and that their stock market has been struggling for much of the last year. But because policymakers have a 5% GDP target, they are incentivized to now loosen policy to a certain degree that will allow the economy to heal. To make the situation more urgent for policymakers, we can see that from the chart below here that active fund flows into China have declined substantially since 2023, while passive fund flows are a bit more stable. So now China wants to reverse this decline in foreign investment. And I think this important meeting, which just happened, is a great first step. In this meeting, over 100 top CEOs from the world's largest companies came to attend. Some specific examples include the CEOs from Blackstone, FedEx, Broadcom, and Qualcomm, to name a few. President Xi started off the meeting with a warm message for the CEOs that China is still a great place to do business as the best growth days are ahead, and that visiting in the spring was symbolically positive. He also said that whether US and China geopolitical relations are confrontational or cooperative, that there is still very good opportunity for both sides to work with each other. Some of the topics that were discussed were related to AI, information security, and climate change. Because there were a lot of semiconductor CEOs who attended, like AMD's Lisa Su and Micron's CEO, I think US export curb restrictions and how to manage that relationship may have been discussed as well. This should be good for semiconductor companies that need another catalyst to keep advancing. Now, this meeting comes at an important time because of increased competition and a softer consumer climate. McKinsey & Company have estimated that US company revenues from China have fallen from 16% in 2006 to 10% in 2020. Now, that trend will take time to improve, but there continues to be great opportunity for US companies that position well in China. Now, before we continue, I wanted to touch on a speaking event related to China at an investment conference that I led earlier this year, and also talk about the partner of today's video. Now, earlier this year, I was invited to be a guest speaker at an investment conference in Canada with executives interested in the US and China investing landscape. Specifically, the topic was really interesting because China markets have been in a cyclical downturn since 2021, and many North American leaders were wondering whether US companies continue to have a strong future in China. No doubt the landscape is not yet becoming easier, but I did my best to share my conclusions that I thought may be insightful. When I'm traveling and away from my home office, I like to carry my belongings in a minimalistic style. Most of the time, I go for just a travel backpack and a versatile duffel bag. On this recent trip, I brought my duffel bag called the Classic Weekender Duffel and a neat organizer called the Travel Folio from Bellroy. The Classic Weekender Duffel bag has a convenient zip on the outside to carry items that are super handy, such as my travel folio, my chargers from laptop, and also other wires I would need to use for my presentation. I was pleasantly surprised to find out that I could pack nearly 4 to 5 days of clothes in this duffel bag if I wanted to. Even though it looks compact, it is very spacious inside and sports a professional look, especially the dark blue navy color scheme, which is really common in the finance industry. The Bellroy Travel Folio really comes in handy to carry your passport, any travel documents, and also credit cards that you might have designated for the trip. It also has a sleeve in the back where you can carry cash, and it also serves as a bonus purpose as a wallet. Personally, I like to say minimalistic when traveling so that I don't have to worry about forgetting to bring important items. The carry items from Bellroy are very helpful in keeping me organized because their design is also minimalistic, yet also has a sophisticated and high-end appearance. My Bellroy Weekender duffel bag is now my go-to practical item to bring whenever I travel or leave the house for a couple days because it's so versatile. Bellroy is a certified B Corporation where the materials they use to make their high-quality products are good for the environment. B Corporations mean that they are a business that is used for a force for good. The company is based in Melbourne and has a really high-quality premium products and has grown to have a global fan base. Thank you to Bellroy for partnering with my channel to provide my viewers with high-quality gear to help them organize their belongings in a minimalistic yet sophisticated way. I'm so happy that this premier brand is giving 10% off to my audience on anything from Bellroy.com. Link in the description below. Okay, now back to the video. Right now, a lot of semiconductor companies heavily rely on China for their sales, like Apple, AMD, Micron, and Nvidia. If the discussions on AI are constructive, I think that both China and US tech companies could potentially find ways to work together while balancing national security. One example of this is that Apple may potentially explore using ErnieBot from Baidu on iPhones sold on the mainland. This would be hugely beneficial for both Baidu and Apple, as it shows a good example of both US and China tech companies working together to grow each other's potential. This is because Google Gemini and ChatGPT are banned in China. Apple CEO Tim Cook on Sunday told Chinese media that he hoped to increase Apple's investment in China at a time when other companies are scaling back. The company is doubling down its efforts to impress Chinese consumers as its flagship iPhone has lost ground to local Huawei models like the Mate 60 Pro Plus. There was also a report that AMD and Intel chips would be phased out of government workers' computers. But because AMD has a good relationship with China, I believe there will be other workarounds for the company to make up for lost revenue. The rewards for sticking with China and succeeding can be large. We can see from this South Morning China Post that semiconductors that continue to find ways to sell in China, like Micron, have eventually seen their products find a middle ground between the current restrictions that have been imposed. Micron is now at multi-decade highs after a soft patch in mid-2023. Before earnings, I posted on Twitter that I liked this company in the mid-90s, and it soared after posting amazing results, where its China revenues continue to be strong. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as I post commentary on stocks that followers may be interested in. Now, this business meeting with Xi is coming at a time when the broader sentiment in China's view towards US tech is driven by a government paper known as Document 79, written in 2022 at the height of the US export curbs. In this government paper, where more details are offered by the Wall Street Journal, it discusses that it was China's government policymakers' intention to reduce reliance on American technology. So here's the main theme in detail. The Chinese government will be requiring state-owned enterprises to replace foreign software in their IT systems by 2027. Now that we're in 2024, that is only 3 years away. The overall concept was to increase self-sufficiency and build a supply chain that didn't make them dependent on the West after seeing the semiconductor chip export curbs that are being placed on China. Now, China first reduced reliance on hardware providers such as Dell and IBM. Now, a Morgan Stanley poll of 135 chief information officers in China found that many expected the share of computers powered by Microsoft's Windows operating system installed in their computers to fall over the next 3 years. This is a very big deal because in China, state-owned enterprises generated about 40% of their GDP in 2020 and contribute about 60% of their stock market's market cap. This means that state-owned enterprises employ a significant amount of people in the country, and this is eventually going to bring about a huge change in how people do work, and the tools that they use will be different from our own. They'll be using Linux operating systems or China's own system software. They'll also be using Huawei or Xiaomi for their hardware needs. Now, at the business meeting between top CEOs and President Xi, she made it clear that foreign investment continues to be very welcome in China. And ahead of this event, China actually relaxed its rules governing cross-border data flows. This suggests to me that China is definitely trying to make the business environment more friendly while trying to maintain their own self-sufficiency goals. Now, my read of the meeting is that it went well because the Hang Seng Index reacted positively afterwards. Because the leaders from the largest financial companies like BlackRock and semiconductor companies like Broadcom attended the event, it's possible that there is more interest from these companies to sell more of their products in China's market in the future. The result is that powerful business leaders may end up trying to push for warmer geopolitical ties between the US and China, and that means that whoever wins the White House this year will have support from the business community to improve the relationship. The net outcome of a friendlier China business environment for financial companies and semiconductor companies means that China's economic recovery could be an opportunity for several US companies to keep advancing. Companies such as Micron, Broadcom, AMD, and Apple have an opportunity to grow their business in China, and that means that recent corrections in these names could end up being bought later on. Also, we can see that when China does decide to step in to lift its markets, capital inflows can happen extraordinarily quickly, and the entire market can go up 15–20% in a matter of weeks. If US and foreign investors return to China's markets, we could see the recent low valuations in China start to pick up again. I will discuss this and more inside our Substack newsletter, so make sure to subscribe to get the most up-to-date info. I'll also have more updates on China as important events come up, so make sure to turn on the bell. Make sure to subscribe, give a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you to Bellroy for sponsoring today's video and equipping my audience with amazing work here. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.